Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. If you're here, I know it's because you either want to start your own business or you already have one and you're starting to really grow it and you're getting excited about it. Most people who go into business for themselves, they go into it for one of a couple of reasons. Let me see if one of these resonates with you. Are you going into it because you're looking for more money? Do you want to own your own business because you want to still have time for your life while you're working? Or do you want to have control over how you serve your clients? Or maybe you just want to be able to say that you're a success in your industry. I'm guessing that one of those resonates with you. The fact is that owning a business is a lot of work. If you're not going to get what you want from the business, it's easier to work for someone else. You don't have to worry about payroll. You don't have to worry about problems and issues that come up. You can just tell your boss and they have to take care of it. In a moment, I'm going to share with you how to give yourself an edge towards growing your business. And that's all about creating a great plan to get there. So, welcome to Build a Business, Not a Job, the keys to planning for success. Did you know that the average American spends about 15 hours planning a one-week vacation? You have to plan where you're going to go and what you're going to do and how you're going to get there and what to take with you, and any special activities you want to have set up so that everyone is happy on the trip. Most importantly, you have to plan for the time and the money to pay for the vacation. But it's been my experience as a business coach that many business owners spend more time planning their vacation than they do planning for the success of their business. And isn't that why you got into business in the first place? I believe that we should own our own businesses. Our businesses should not own us. I believe that businesses should support the lifestyle we want to lead. And I believe that each business owner must learn to lead their business in order to grow. Otherwise, they'll just be creating a job for themselves. Thank you, Tammy, so much for inviting me to speak on Employee to Entrepreneur Summit. Developing a successful action plan with long-term goals for supporting your lifestyle, there's a couple of key things that you want to do when you build that plan. But let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I got interested in planning for business to begin with. My daughter, Cindy, was my inspiration. She was a freshman in college, and she called me one day, and she'd fallen down the stairs and gotten a bad concussion. And would I please bring her home while she recovered? Of course, I said yes, and she came home, and the doctor said, well, she should be better in about 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. And when she didn't start to get better so quickly, they were saying 2 months to maybe 2 years. Boy, was it a scary time. She was bedridden for most of that time. And then at the end of 2 years, or towards the end of 2 years, they said, well, this could be permanent. Wow. Tough for my husband and I. It was 3 years before we found help for her. It was about 8 years before her personality came back and she was able to function pretty well. And after 10 years, she went back to college as a 28-year-old freshman. I'm telling you this story because when Cindy fell down those stairs, I had just started my business. I needed to find a way to grow that business and still be around to support my daughter. And that's how I developed my process for growing a business. Now, you may not have a sick child, but you might have parents who need your help, or your children's activities you want to attend, or maybe it's a hobby or friends you want to spend time with. I work with business owners all the time now to create action plans for success for their business while they still have time to enjoy their lives. So let's get into it. What are the things you need to develop a great plan? Most importantly, the most important thing about a plan is to know where you're going. Start with the end in mind. So what does that mean? That means, what is the lifestyle that you want? Get really clear on that. If that means that you want to own a jet and jet set around the world, well, then you have to build a business that can support that lifestyle. If you're happy with taking a vacation or two a year, visiting grandchildren, or if you're happy with working 2 or 3 days a week, whatever it is that you want, whatever the lifestyle you want, that's what you're going to build your business to support. So here's the thing, you have to make plans to get to that end. Let me give you an example. Let's say you owned a freighter and you had goods on that freighter that you needed to get to South Africa, but you're in New York. Well, you could just put your freighter in forward and tell it to go. But my guess is that there's no chance you would ever even get out of the harbor. You'd probably crash into something before you got very far at all. What if you took the freighter outside the harbor, put it in the ocean near New York, and aimed it directly at South Africa? Well, the winds would come along, the currents would come along, and they would move you around, and especially the weather would move you around. Chances of getting to South Africa are almost zero. But what happens if you put a pilot, that's what they call them, or a captain on that ship to guide the ship, always going towards South Africa? But now, when the current blows it a little bit off course, he corrects the course. When the winds come up, he corrects course again. When there's a weather pattern, he goes around that weather pattern in order to safely get to South Africa. And the chances of getting to South Africa are almost 100%. That's how you want to build your business. Know exactly where you're going. Then you be the leader who can guide the boat or the ship or your business. As you get off course, back on course. As you see there's a weather pattern coming up, you need to go around that weather pattern. Build the business so that you know where you're going and you can move it around to keep it on track. Second thing you need to do here is build it so that you're not the only one who can run it. Because if you're the only one who can run your business, then you can never take a vacation. You can never do what you want to do. So maybe you don't start there, but have in mind, how am I going to get to the point where I am not 100% responsible for the business? The next most important thing that you need to do is to start to think like a CEO of a business that you're building. Not just, okay, I should do this now. Okay, I should do this now. No. Sit back and make some plans. And here's what you do. Pretend that you are already the CEO of the business that you're building. Now you're going to ask your marketing or sales manager, what do they need to get there? Of course, now the marketing and sales manager is you in the beginning. And the marketing and sales manager may say something like, I need a really great marketing message, or I need a system for getting leads. Great things to ask. Now, when you build your plan, you're building your plan to support the marketing and sales part of your business. Eventually, you'll put somebody else into that position, but for now, that's you, and that's okay. Build your business there. That way. Okay, now you've got your marketing and sales manager satisfied with your plans. What does your operations manager need? Probably the operations manager needs to set up systems and processes so that however you deliver your product or service, it gets there the way it's supposed to get there. And then the other reason for setting up processes and systems is because that's often the first place that you're going to give somebody else that job. So you want to be developing those processes and procedures so that it's clear what needs to get done and how to do it, so that someone else can pick up that job very quickly and deliver the same great service. The next person you want to talk to in your business, in your mind, what does the service manager need? So this is the service manager considering what's the customer experience that I want them to have and how can we make that happen? And you're going to make plans for how that's going to happen. And then the fourth category you're going to start to ask yourself about is, what is the employee development plan that we need? Okay, HR manager, what is the employee development plan that we need? Who do we need on our team? And I encourage you to make out that business plan, the chart of all the positions you would want to have. Make that chart. Who do you need on your team to be successful? What skills do you need to hire for or train for? And if you already have a small team, that's great. Still ask this question, because obviously there's some skills that your team needs to learn. There always are. And finally, what are the skills that you need to learn to become the CEO of the business that you're building? Not the business you have now, but the business you're building. You need to grow as your business grows, because your business won't grow if you don't. And the next thing you need to consider in your plan is, how do we keep that momentum going? And there's two aspects to that. The first one is tracking the important things that you're doing. So I look at tracking in two different ways. You have critical drivers. These are the small steps or the things that you do regularly that bring people into awareness of you and your business. It's kind of like if you wanted to learn how to do push-ups, or if you wanted to start to do push-ups. A friend of mine the other day was saying that he could do about 8 or 10 push-ups, but he really wanted to be able to do 50. So he started doing push-ups, and he did 10 to begin with. And then every day he added one more push-up. And now he's up to 100 push-ups, even though he only wanted to get to 50. It's the same thing with your marketing and your messaging and bringing people into awareness of you. It's the small steps that you take that help you get there. But it's not just the small steps. You have to track those small steps, because it's so easy to say, okay, I'm going to make a phone call every day, which, by the way, is a great idea. Make one phone call every day. At the end of the year, you will have made about 250 phone calls. What is that going to do for your business? I don't know any business that would be hurt by making 250 phone calls to prospective clients. But what are the small steps that you're going to take? And then track it, because here's what happens. You think to yourself, oh man, I'm so busy today. I just do not have time to make that one phone call. I'll do it tomorrow. No worries. And what happens the next day? Yeah, I didn't make it today. I'll do it tomorrow. And pretty soon, you've missed a whole lot of the phone calls you were going to make. If you track it, you can get to the end of the week and see, oh boy, I only made 2 out of the 5 phone calls I was supposed to make this week. I've got to make up for that right now. And if you do that, if you're tracking it and keeping on top of things every single week, you won't get behind. You won't get behind. The thing is that growing just about any business, from the time that you meet a prospect, however it is that you meet a prospect, to the time that they buy is often at least a couple of months, depending on the business. Sometimes it's over a year. Sometimes it's a few hours, but most of the time it's a few months. So if you get lax and stop making those phone calls or doing whatever it is you need to do to bring people into your awareness, you are going to find out 2 or 3 months later that you don't have as many sales as you want. So that's the reason for tracking. It's to keep you on an even keel of sales. So you might be tracking the number of phone calls you're making. It might be the number of networking events you're attending, or it could be your advertising budget, depending on your type of business. But tracking your critical drivers, those things that bring you new business. The other things you're going to be tracking are your KPIs. These are the key performance indicators. These are numbers you should know. How many sales am I making? What's the revenue I'm getting? And what are my expenses? Am I actually making money on what I'm doing? All of those things are really important. The second thing that you can do to make sure that you're going to achieve the goals that you've set out for yourself is to develop a cadence of meetings to keep yourself on track. And I'm going to encourage you to do this even if you don't have a team. Some of these meetings could just be with yourself, or maybe you get yourself an accountability partner, but get these meetings on your calendar so it's a time when you're going to focus on the business. So here's the meetings. You have an annual meeting. That's the one where you actually set out your strategic plan for the next year. Then you're going to do a quarterly meeting where you set out, okay, what are the things I need to accomplish this quarter in order to get to my annual goals? Then you're going to have a monthly milestones meeting. That means just before the beginning of the month, you're going to meet and you're going to figure out, okay, what are all the things I'm doing this month to get me to my quarterly rocks? That's what I call the big things you're going to do each quarter. And that will take you to the annual goals. And then there's a weekly to-dos, and there's a whole process around how to have that weekly meetings. It's a twofold process. One is during that weekly meeting, it's a problem solving or issue resolution meeting, which means it's a dedicated time on your calendar to solve problems or evaluate opportunities. And then the second thing that's going to come out of that are your to-do list. What are the things I have to do? So that's how you build a plan. First, you build, where am I going? How am I going to get there? What do I need as the CEO of this business? What do I need to grow the business? And then you're going to develop some kind of tracking system and a cadence of meetings that keep you on track all year long to get to your goals. Listen, if you're interested in more steps, more tips for building your business, you can download the 5 Keys to Success ebook. And I know that's running across the bottom of the screen, how to get that. And if you're really ready to grow your business, sign up now for a free business accelerator call. You can do that when you download the ebook. You and I will get together. We'll identify the next most important steps for you to take to grow your business. I'm so happy to be here. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. Have a wonderful day.